$14 people watching. Sounds good to me. Waiting for a couple of people to come in, rolling in the door. It's Friday, and I changed the lighting. Yeah, welcome to Friday, everybody, where it's dark. It's dark and stormy inside the building. What's up, everybody? I hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday. I hope you're having a lovely Friday. I hope it's amazing. I hope your Friday is so fantabulous, you deuce your pants. You just can't even stand it anymore and just go poop pants. I say that because my lovely, lovely baby girl, she loves to, she's so excited. She gets so excited about Fridays that she goes poop pants, you know? It's just kind of one of her things, you know? You know, she's like 90-something days old, so I don't know. Somebody told me it was expected. They were like, that's just like a normal baby thing. And I'm like, no, it's because of the excitement of a Friday and all of the people joining up, right? It's because of the people joining up and hitting the join button, right? They just start freaking out because it's Friday and they hit that join button, and then you get a big green arrow next to your name. And there's going to be a private live stream. There's going to be a private live stream, you guys, for members only. And I'm thinking that the private live stream is going to be pretty fun, I think. I think the private live stream will be, I think a word that might describe it would be juicy. Right? Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be pretty fun. Somebody was asking where I got this sriracha mug. I love sriracha. I put sriracha on all sorts of stuff. I got this for Christmas. That was one of my Christmas presents, you guys. Because I've gone full-on dad mode. I'm full-on dad mode, and I get coffee mugs for Christmas, y'all. You better just remember that. You better just remember that. Dad mode, Grandpa Dad style, up in the house, Grandpa Dad style, doing YouTube, and we's on YouTube Live. We got a super chat. What happened? I thought the super chat button was broken, but I was wrong. It's not broken. Millie Gandalf sent in a super chat saying, "Love the content, man. Keep it up." I will definitely keep it up. You know, if you guys watch it. I think that's really what it boils down to. If you guys watch it and stuff, I'll keep making it. I'm trying to help people out, man. That's my main thing. I don't know about keeping it real, but I'm just trying to keep it helpful. I know back in the day, I was invested in some kind of stupid, childish idea of trying to keep it real or whatever, and that just was a waste of time. That was just a monumental waste of time. So I no longer try to keeps it real. I just try to keeps it helpful. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense, because if it doesn't make sense, then the Grandpa Dad moniker just starts falling right by the wayside, and then nothing makes sense anymore because it's Friday. Well, the first 4 minutes have been totally weird, so hopefully anybody who doesn't want to learn about fish tank stuff or check in with the patronizers or any of that kind of stuff, then maybe they'll be scared off and they'll be like, I got to get out of here and I'm going to hit the dislike button. Which a bunch of people did before we even started the show. So I feel like we're on the right track. things are going the right direction, and that's always good. I like that. It always feels good to just go like, oh no, I've enraged 10% of the population. I feel like I'm doing something right if I make 10% of people upset. I think. It seems about right to me. Smoking Frog Studios with a $1.99 super chat. I've never seen Smoking Frog Studios in the chat before, so hey, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. I don't know what a Smoking Frog Studios is, but I like the sound of it. It sounds enticing. People would wonder if I've eaten frog's legs before. Yes, I have. All right. Oh, yeah. So I was saying the join button, and so rudely, I didn't have a link for anybody because all of the people that typically are on their iPhone and stuff like that, they don't end up with a join button because there's, for whatever reason, YouTube doesn't like to give those people a join button. So I will grab the button here. Hold on. This thing's loading. I don't know. I wonder why we had such... The computer was like giving me a warning that I was doing too much interneting here for a second there. I don't know what that was all about. That was weird. It's probably like some kind of weird thing. I don't know. But there's the link right there if you don't have a join button. And, hit that join button. Basically what it is that, it just basically YouTube charges you money for watching this channel. That's really what it boils down to. It's just a way to contribute. Just because we have like a million ways to contribute, because that's just how it goes. Maybe you're somebody who just likes to go on to Amazon and do a bunch of Amazon shopping. Mellow Moogle posted the store right there. So that's a really like free and cheap way to contribute if you feel like you want to contribute. If you don't want to hit the join button, and if you don't want to go to Patreon, then yeah, I know how it is. Alvin Alejo says Fluval plant and shrimp stratum 4.4 pound 5-pack is available for $54 right now. And let's do some math in our heads there right now. That seems like the price is high right now. That seems like the price is high because I think the 17 wasn't the 17.6 pounder like $28.99 or something like that the other day. I don't know. I will tell you, everybody out there, if you're getting substrate for your aquarium, unless it's just like, a cichlid aquarium or something like that, where you're just buying some sand and rocks, But if you're trying to get some specific substrates out there, the prices on those will fluctuate quite a bit. So it's definitely something I would keep track of if you're going to be purchasing a whole bunch. If it's something that you're going to be doing, as we move along here. As we move along in our lives and setting up aquariums and stuff like that. I definitely monitor that. Not like in a crazy way or anything like that, but I'll normally like... One thing I do on Amazon is I'll like throw stuff in my shopping cart and then I'll hit the save for later. And then it will give me an update when... it... like drops in price. Like it'll let me know if it goes up, even if it goes up in price or goes down in price, it'll let it know. Oh my gosh, we have a new member, William Plume, coming in hot, coming in fresh, which I will give a double thank you because he actually has become a new Patreon, and we will be seeing some posts from Mr. Plume, otherwise known as Big Bill, I think. Big Bill? I don't know. We'll find out later in the show. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Alvin's saying it was using the same link I always shared. Yes, I share the link out there because there really is, as far as like stratum goes, there's only one or two people that are selling that on Amazon, and I bet they're probably like some kind of Fluval affiliate, but the prices will fluctuate quite a bit with substrates because most of them are made overseas. And I went down this rabbit hole probably... what year is it? 2019, so it's probably 2011? Something like that? 8 years ago? Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy when you start thinking that like 2011 was 8 years ago. Unless you're 8. Then it's not as creepy. I guess maybe if you're like 16 too. I guess there's an age point where you hit grandpa dad status up here and you're like, whoa, that was 8 years ago? Oh no, I'm old. But I went down this rabbit hole probably about 8 years ago. I had to be like sending emails. I had to make phone calls, you guys. I had to call people on the phone. I had to be like, hello, hi, how you doing? And it was quite odd. It was a quite odd thing, is that most of the substrates and everything like that are as far as like aqua soils, so like ADA, Fluval stratum, some of the other shrimp soils out there, some of the other plant soils out there and stuff like that, they're made overseas. And one of the strange things about things that are being made overseas is that they have to come over on cargo ships, and oftentimes the cargo ships come over and they get stopped for whatever reason, because some dignitary up the chain is like, hey, we can't be having no boats coming in here and dropping off whatevers. And so at one point in time, I do know that like the whole shipping container of Fluval stratum, which I think was coming over at the same time that ADAs was coming over, they were stuck either on the same boat or the same like shipping schedule or something like that. I don't know what you call that. You know, there's probably some kind of fancy maritime name for that. But they all got stuck all at the same time, and everyone that I talked to was like, it's right out there, but we can't get it. And that's what sent me down the big rabbit hole of calling all sorts of people and really starting to track down like the source of where these soils and stuff like that were coming from. And strangely enough, most of them are produced by like 2 factories on like a southern island in Japan, which, you know, really isn't that odd, because if somebody has cornered the process and they have the big facility for making all the kind of stuff, then most people are just going to go to the place where they're already making it and just be like, hey, can you make mine a little different? Hey, can you make mine a little lighter colored? Could you make mine look a little more red or brown or black or whatever? And of course, those guys go like, yeah, we could totally do that. Which bag would you like us to put it in? Oh, that bag? Okay, cool. And come back next week and we'll have brown stuff for you. Which is, you know, it's also one of those things that a lot of people are like, they thought I was somehow being, with air quotes, controversial, saying that it seemed like most of those soils and all that stuff are all coming from the same plants, or, you know, the same plants as in the manufacturing plant. But, you know, after tracking it down and like, you know, Google Translate was terrible back in the day. So, I mean, it was like non-existent. You had to like take the characters from another language and try to like figure out what they were and stuff like that. But, you know, it after going down that and doing a lot of research down that, you know, you just kind of find out like, oh, most of this stuff is coming from pretty much the same place. And you do find that with a lot of products. It's not that weird. It's not controversial. It's not strange. There just isn't that many places that manufacture very specific things. So you just really start to find out stuff like, you know, like LED lights. Like there's, you know, if you get a LED light bulb, it's probably going to be made in like one of 5 different plants that make the LED diodes, you know what I mean? And maybe some different people are soldering it together and stuff like that. But, you know, that's the reality of it. You know, we see cars driving around here, you know, that are only 40% made in the USA, but yet they have a sticker on them that says made in the USA, right? Weird, you know? But that's just the way that it is now. We live in a global economy. That's how the world works, and we're just trucking along doing our thing. But the reason I brought that all up is that those markets will change because, you know, certain things like that where the shipping container boat gets stuck and then the supply here starts to diminish. So what they do is they'll go, well, let's raise the rates way up, and maybe people just kind of slow down on ordering for a little while. And that's very common, and you would never even, you wouldn't even get a notification from Amazon or anything like that they made those changes, because they don't need to tell anybody. They don't have to tell anybody, like, oh, we raised the price $8. But it will just kind of slow people down from buying it, and then hopefully they can refill, their inventory until, they'll be able to bring the price down and then send out a bunch more again. Supply and command, right? As old Ricky and Bubbles would say, supply and command, right? Because I think that's how the supply and command works. Savannah the Aqualama says, yeah, thanks Comcast for the exceptional service. It's an exception when it's consistently working. That's life as far as the internet and all those providers and stuff. It's nonsense. I personally have CenturyLink. I got rid of Comcast cable a long time ago, for a myriad of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons was they would constantly change my bill. Like, my bill would be a different price on a regular basis. Like, 1 month it'd be like, oh, it's $193, and I'm like, okay, so I guess next month it's going to be $193. Like, nope, next month it's going to be $197. And like, what is happening here? And then I'd call them, and but they would regularly do the bait and switch thing where they're like, yeah, don't worry, it's only $90 for your thing. And then, after a year goes by, like, you've been a good customer, you've paid on time, and then all of a sudden your bill goes up to $200 a month. And you're like, what happened? What happened? So then they're like, well, we only offer that to new customers. You're like, oh, so I need to cancel this and then I can become a new customer again? So, yeah, I got rid of Comcast as soon as I found out that CenturyLink would at least provide good gigabyte service down here. So I switched over to CenturyLink, and I've been pretty happy with their service. Their bill hasn't changed and stuff like that. The only issue that I've been having with them is that their automatic bill pay was working and then just stopped. Like, it just stopped working, so I've had to manually pay the bill. And I don't know about you guys, but if I got to manually pay bills, you know what I'm saying? That's like, oh, lordy. I just hope they fix it. You know what I mean? I just hope that they fix the manual pay thing. Just fix the thing, man. Like, automatically take out the whatever it is and just pay the bill. I don't want to pay a late fee because your thing broke. Aaron DeSena, I want to say DeSena. Hopefully I got that right. Says, hey, Gerald, awesome shows. Some dinero for another 200 gold white clouds. Ooh. I would someday probably do a white cloud, a mountain minnow aquarium again. That might be in the works someday. So you've definitely hit onto something there, because that's probably something I would do at some point again. I did one a long time ago. And I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I think it was when I had this really weird, like 140-gallon aquarium. Like, I think that's what it was. I think that's what they were in. But I had a couple hundred of them in there, and they did fairly well. And then I ended up getting rid of them for some reason that I cannot recall at this moment. I don't remember why. Maybe just impatience and boredom or something. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Rumbust with the Swedish Krones 1739 super chat. Thank you, my brother. I very much appreciate it. I'm gonna post the join button on here again, just so that it's in the chat and I can say that I had posted it in the chat and I'm being a good YouTuber. As we, one of the reasons I say the join button is because hey, I've been in the doghouse for many, many years with Google and, the nonsense that I've put up on YouTube for many years. I put a lot of crazy nonsense up on YouTube, and I fully admit it. I fully admit terrible, awful videos and stuff like that. I feel like over the last probably 3 years, something like that, I've definitely been putting work in to try and make it better and improve the quality and that kind of stuff. And I think it shows. But I also feel like we've got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go that someday we can improve and continue to improve the production quality, helping you guys out, answer questions and stuff like that. And part of it is been showing up here live to do these live shows and answer questions and talk with you guys and have a back and forth and everything. And I'm very appreciative of it. And Google actually said, you know what? You haven't really done anything that bad. You just made stuff that was awful, right? So they were like, okay, and they granted us the join button early. You're supposed to have 30,000 subscribers. We don't have 30,000 subscribers. They activated it, and I feel like, they hooked it up in a way, so I figure, I should, tell people it's cool to do that, I guess. But the patronizers, that's really, a big portion of how this show has been able to continue to be on here. Today's a work day. I did as much work as I could. We're doing this show. This is part of my job, and it's thanks to the patronizers that we're able to even show up here. So let's go. Oh, look at me screwing it up. Man, I screwed it up. We got to go like this. Okay. So we go here for a minute and we look at some of the video of the day while I set up the other stuff in the background and try to talk at the same time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. I've had to make some changes, some slight changes here to all of the layouts because the computer setup just needs to be set up a certain way. And I think maybe we got it now. Maybe I got it. I'm not sure. But at the very least, I'll be able to, read the chat and be able to go to the Patreon. I think if I go like this. Okay, I'm going to set this one up over here. Set this one up over here. We'll click this button, and there we go. It's working. And you guys can even see that I've got my cursor, right? Does that, whoa. Okay, that shows up if I accidentally click on that. Whoops, okay. There, anyhow, our first post of the day on a Friday comes from Lexi V, who has been a Patreon for I don't know how long, but appreciate it. I don't know how to tell people that I appreciate it a lot. It's pretty big time. It's pretty big time. But anyhow, Lexi V says, so I came home to this on Friday. Family wanted to surprise me with some fish, but tank isn't cycled or fully scaped. Guess we're going to finish cycling the tank with fish in. Now, I'm confused about what she came home to on a Friday, but this cool elephant in here needs some more plants. I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. This elephant, if we had some good jungle stuff going on here. Now, obviously, you got the Valsneria, which will completely overgrow the tank and take over, and, the whole tank will just be Valsneria. So be careful. Make sure you just, whip it into shape and make sure that it doesn't get out of control and go totally crazy on you. But this little elephant in here in the tank, I never even really thought how cool, a snarling elephant would be in a tank until I saw this, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't normally put figurines or anything like that into an aquarium, mainly because Oliver Knott always does that. He does that with these little figurines and these little goats and and I feel like it's his thing. And having met him a few times, just a super nice guy who's just doing his thing and he's doing his work, and I feel like I wouldn't necessarily be stealing anything from him, but I feel like I would just be stepping on his style. You know what I mean? But I do like that elephant, and I think it's pretty cool. Kelly Peterson sent in this post, says, what's this? 2 bags in the cooler. Coming home from the GBAS swap, I guess an extra beta, just sort of hopped in while we packed up. Proper photos tomorrow once they're all settled in and colored up. You know, I don't know what the GBAS swap is, but that sounds like a local fish group, and I cannot tell you guys, I cannot stress you guys enough, if you really are into fish tanks and stuff like that, it is great to get in with your local fish club. It is extremely helpful. It's probably going to be the best resource that you can find for finding, you know, fish, locally bred fish, shrimp, plants, all that kind of stuff. People may have stuff for sale. There might be an auction. You might be able to just buy stuff from members and stuff like that. It really is just probably the best resource that you're going to be able to find around. Even if it's a small group, even if you have to drive there, just, you know, it really is a piece of advice that somebody gave me a long time ago, and I don't know that I ever took it. I don't know that I ever took it to heart that much, because I'm not necessarily somebody who likes to associate with that many people, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like if I get involved in like large groups of people, there's always outliers that are always doing something weird, and I don't know if I necessarily want to be all involved with that. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go to the local club, but I will say this. It's always been helpful. It was always a good time, and as long as I'm not like on the board or responsible for voting for anything or any of that kind of stuff, it was awesome. You know, the one around here that I've been to a lot of times is the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society. Shout out to the GSAS. And I've always gotten like really cool plants. I've always met cool people. It was always pretty great. I just need to be a peripheral member and not anybody who's involved with talking to anybody. That's probably the best bet for me. I'm overly opinionated and, you know, stuff like that. And I rub people the wrong way. I get it. I understand. You know, it's just life sometimes. But Grassy Peak coming in, who is one of our new producer, Grassy Peak all the way up at the producer level, you know what I'm talking about, which is a big deal. There's only 2 more spots left on the producer credits, you guys. So, but Grassy Peak coming in saying, Joel said that if you place an Anubias under too much light, it is likely to become covered in algae. True, I did say that. Joel also said putting too many root tabs in your substrate is likely to cause blackbeard algae to grow. Double oops. I appreciate the good-natured method of this post. You know what I mean? I appreciate being lighthearted and that these things, they do happen. And trust me, when I say I have Anubias that has looked like this, I think I even have some bulbitis right now that has definitely got some of this going on right now, because it was like in the back and it had a light shining right on some of its leaves. And I'm going to be trimming those off. I'm going to be making a little video out of that. And I did get a request. I don't know if it was so much as a request, but I think it was a comment on one of the videos that somebody was like, hey, man, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with this Anubias. Like, how do I trim it? What am I doing here? And as you guys know, I am setting up the Anubias tank, so I am going to make an edited video, so you know, one of those short style videos that people will be able to you know, get that information real fast because they're super busy, right? So I'll be making one of that, like how to trim them, what to do with them, what you're looking for, and stuff like that. But I definitely have fallen. Yeah, this has happened to me many times. So don't dismay. Don't dismay. Just keep working and rocking and rolling, and you know, just making the better judgments when you know, like, oops, this is an accident. Okay, I got to make some adjustments and move some stuff around, and you'll be fine. Just remember that algae is not unhealthy. It's just unappealing to look at. It's just visually, it's aesthetic. It's aesthetically unappealing. It's a healthy part of the system, but we do want to minimize it a little bit because we want to definitely you know, we want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Because we want it to be visually appealing. We want it to be sexy on the eyes, right? That's what we're looking for, I believe. And healthy for our critters. But we want healthy first. Algae plays a good part in maintaining a healthy environment. If some things get out of whack, typically algae is going to be one of the big things that's going to let you know what's going on. It's also going to help to bring certain levels back to health. You know, like if you have a ton of phosphate, all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I've got all this algae growing. It's like, it's telling you something. You've got a little too much of something's too high, and you're going to either need to bring everything else up with it or bring that level back down. And algae is probably the best way to do that and really know what's going on. But anyhow, I can never say this. The Pelvia cacromus, I think, Sacramontis, I've got it completely wrong, but the Azumini River, I know how to say that part sort of correctly. Love the blackbeard algae, I'm just saying, and that's right. Blackbeard algae and hair algae and stuff like that have lots of little goodies in them, from all of the little, the biofilm, the infusoria, all that kind of stuff that's growing in there. It's great food for all the little babies and stuff like that. They'll definitely be in there digging around. Your shrimps will be in there digging around and finding good stuff, along with the biofilm and all that, and all the little bugs and stuff. I have to admit, Philip M. sent this in, and this is awesome. This is fantastic. Moving GIF. It's like the photos are great. This is really well done. Recolored. The saturation is fixed. A little bokeh in the background. It's great. This is awesome. I really like this. It says, planning out a rescape for the puffer's tank, and I'm looking for a low-tech carpeting plant for the tank. I usually use H. tenellum, aka chainsword, in my tanks as it carpets in practically everything, but I'd like to mix it up a bit this time. Anyone have any suggestions? Bonus shrimp gift for you all. Thanks. And we've got some posts down here. This is another reason why it's pretty cool to be on the Patreon. I feel like we have a little bit of a blossoming community there. People posting up maybe questions or maybe just some cool pictures that you took or letting us know what's going on. And we got people like commenting and letting people know what's going on. And I talk about these posts on the Friday show. So I feel like it's a win-win for everybody, right? My suggestion here would be Styrogyne repens as a carpet, or Pogostemon helferi would be my two recommendations for really fun carpeting. Yes, I think that would be cool. Anyhow, we got a post here from Ginger Graves, which, what happened to your picture? You had like a avatar picture there. It seems to have disappeared for some reason. Maybe there's a glitch in the matrix. But she says, my 40-gallon breeder has finally stabilized after the great die-off. My best guess is the mystery snail died first, and I didn't catch it. That caused ammonia spike, which killed off half of my tank, which I don't think that this is necessarily true or false. I feel like probably contributing factor, was able to save one fish, the Serpe tetra. He was in the quarantine getting meds for a month, but I meant I was going to save him. You got to save him. You got to save him when you can. I have a sad fish story for you guys today from the other day. But I originally named him Poseidon, but I think Scar fits better, which I appreciate that. I like the references. Pretty good. Anyway, he is the lighter Serpe on the left side of the photo, swimming away from the center. I can always find him in the tank because of his or her lighter color and the scar behind his dorsal fin. Thanks for the help, Patreonizers. Yeah, so we got some help. We got the things going on. And I think this is Scar right here. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. Brain thinkins. Watch out. I'll try not to blow a gasket. Alyssa Bentley sent in, you guys, the crystal shrimp is carrying eggs. Not a ton of eggs, but some, I feel like I just leveled up in the aquarium hobby. I appreciate this. This is great. I love getting updates like this. If your shrimps are carrying eggs, this is a good sign. And they are visibly large enough that you're probably getting close to having some babies, which is good. I would always kind of remind people that between Neocaridinus and Caridinia, am I saying that right? Caridina? Either way. Crystal shrimp versus cherry shrimp. Cherry shrimp going to have more babies. Just kind of how it is. It's just sort of like, you know, when the puppies have puppies, you know, and you're like, oh, this one had 10, and this one had 5. It's just kind of that deal, you know. So I wouldn't stress out too much about that situation. Crystal shrimp just kind of breed a little less babies than the cherry shrimp. So don't stress. It's all good. Just be aware that once those babies are thrown, any kind of little mistake, you can lose your babies. So just be careful. And it's Alyssa though. She'll be fine. She'll be doing fine. Stephen Pope sent in, on an Anubias only tank, what variety would you use as a foreground carpet? Ooh. Well, we gotta be straight here when we say we gotta go with the little tiny Anubias, and that's going to be the Anubias Nana Petite. That's pretty much the most common, and the common of the small ones. There are some other smaller ones, but they are way rare and kind of hard to get your hands on, and I don't think you're going to be able to put together any kind of carpet. But I will say this, Anubias Nana Petite, a lot of little... If you could get a bunch of little plantlets and stuff like that going, then I would definitely go for that. And I hope you do it so I get a chance to take a look at it, because that would be really cool to check out. Dominique Nadeau, whose name I probably always say wrong, says, not really fish related, but I just bought myself my first DSLR. And if you don't know what a DSLR is, yeah, there's 3 of them sitting right around me right now. Hold on, let me grab one. Whoa, yeah, buddy. Here's one right here. This is the Canon 80D with my macro lens on it, which I am trying to sell so I can level up my camera game. But my friend that I'm trying to sell it to keeps flaking out on me, and that's making it quite difficult to level up my camera game. So we shall see what happens here in the near future. We shall see. You know, but that's what a DSLR is. Anyhow, the T7i, which is a pretty good little camera, that's for sure. Just took this fish picture without cleaning the glass first after unboxing it. My platties were curious of my new toy. And look at that. Where did you nail focus? It's a little bit of a weird spot, but I think it's this orange one is where you grabbed focus. It kind of looks from there. Looks like you nailed focus right here, but look at that blurry background. But yes, the more intense a camera you get, the more you're going to have to clean your glass. So watch out. These little bits and stuff like that will be showing up. I noticed that we just had a big influx of a whole bunch of people. So I'm going to post the join button into the chat in case you want to join, or you could always go over to Patreon and become a patronizer, and you could do community posts just like Dominique Nadeau does. And yeah, so that's the plug for a minute. But I am super stoked to hear anybody leveling up their camera game. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge camera nerd. I love cameras. I love photography. I love art. I love all that stuff. And I'm almost always super enthusiastic whenever I hear anybody getting a new camera or getting some new gear, stuff like that. I love hearing about that. So feel free to let me know when you get something good in. You know what I'm saying? Alluring Beta says, how much for the first DSLR you showed? Using M6, and I love it. So this DSLR right here is an 80D. You can find these out there for probably, I think about, I think like $8.99, something like that now. $899. Doll hairs. But this is a crop sensor camera. It's a great camera. It really is. Not that I'm trying to sell it to anybody or anything like that, but I am selling it to my friend for $650. So, you know, and I'm including some lenses and some other stuff, just because it's my homie, you know. But if anybody local wants to step up and buy it, let me know. I'm not shipping it anywhere. I can't do that. You know, I had it, was selling it before, and you know, they wanted me to ship it out, and I can't trust the shipping situation. I have a piece of camera gear right now that is apparently stuck in the mail somewhere. The United States Postal Service, it's gotten stuck, and it has not made it here. It's supposed to be here today, and they sent me a thing saying it's not going to be here today. We don't know why. So that's kind of lame, because it's pretty much this month's budget is somewhere stuck. I noticed everybody is kind of interested about cameras and stuff, so let me talk cameras for just a minute, and not have people lose their minds too much. But if you are a fish keeper and you are keeping planted tanks or fish and stuff like that, I do highly recommend you to get into cameras a little bit. The Alluring Betas was asking about, saying that you have an M6 and you love it. The M6 is a good camera. You're going to be able to get good pictures out of the M6. So, you know, unless you're doing stuff that's like super intensive or whatever, the M6 is probably going to be pretty good for you. I wouldn't, you know what I mean. Loaves and Fishes says, I can't afford to do Patreon and be a YouTube member. Which would you rather an Oceaneer do? I would rather people do Patreon, because you know, we have a much bigger community over there. You know, if you can't do any, okay. If you can only do one, I would say Patreon, because you guys can put posts up and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, you know, you could even do Patreon at $1. You know what I mean? So, but people that want to join up and be a member, like, yes, there is a perk that there's no slow mode in the chat, so you can chat a whole bunch and stuff like that. You are on less of a delay, but we will be doing a member live stream once a month, which, you know, considering I'm already doing 12 live streams, I do 12 shows a month. I don't feel like, you know, the regular subscribers and stuff like that are going to be missing out on a whole lot, because there already is, I feel like, a whole lot of content I'm already doing as far as live streams and stuff. But it's just, you know, if people want to help support and that's the way that they want to do it, then that's totally cool. I just try to put all the options out there for people if they want to help support. I'm just trying to be as successful as I can and try and build a better production. You know, I think, you know, people can go over to the Patreon and you can see that, you know, after the taxes and everything and fees and all that kind of stuff, you know, the production is about $1,000 a month. So, kind of is what it is. You know, I supplement my income by working as many of the other days, you know, doing things that, you know, plumbing, electrical, digging holes, doing whatever, the stuff that I got to do. So, you know, and hopefully we just keep moving the direction we're moving. That's all I'm all about. We just want to keep, you know, we want to be on that progressive upward scale. And, you know, the join thing came up because YouTube gets mad because they think Patreon's stealing their customers or something. I don't know. I think there's no commercials too. I think that's one of the other things, but you know how it is. Let's see. Jared Byer says the M6 has a screen. You can add an electronic viewfinder on top of it. The M5 has the focus point selection from the touchscreen while using a viewfinder. I think if I had a camera to recommend to anybody out there, is this camera right here. This is the EOS. Like, if you're going to go Canon, which everybody seems to be talking about Canon, I'm a Canon shooter. I'm super disappointed. By the way, I'll talk about the RP here in just a second. But if you, this is the M50. So this thing is about $500-600. This is my B camera. As you guys can see, it's on my gimbal. So as I go around and get all those weird shots
on the gimbal shots and stuff like that. I would recommend getting the M50 is what I would get. What I would recommend to anybody would be to get the M50. It is an interchangeable lens, so you could get different lenses and stuff like that. It comes with a really good kit lens. You can get an adapter. You can put any of the bigger lenses on it that you want. The sensor is pretty good. It does a good job. It has the flippy screen, so you can flip it around. It has a mic input. It just does a lot of work for like $500-600, depending on how much you get it for. I got mine on sale. I waited for it to go on sale, you guys, on Amazon. Like I put it on my wish list. Or I put it in the cart, and then I saved it for later, and it let me know when the price dropped down. And I was like, oh, now's the time. So I saved the money, and then you never know. Mr. Crawfish lives on. The staff named him Ninja. I like that. Sam Shermer says, hey, Joel, do you know is all... Hold on. I'm trying to read this. Do you know is all philodendron plants will grow out of the top of the aquarium? I read somewhere online you can treat them kind of like pothos or peace lilies, but there are a lot of varieties. The philodendron I'm completely blanking on right now. So almost every plant you can grow up out of the water like pothos. You know, put the roots in the water and you can grow it up out. So lots of CO2, lots of light, everything up above. You know, I would just research hydroponics or aquaponics. Those are the two things I would look up. But yeah, you can definitely do that. Alluring Beta says M50 has 4K too, but the crop factor is just a little too close. But I think all 4K cameras are like that for now. Most of the Canons 4K have a crop factor, which means, so if I was shooting in 1080... right? It's like this big, and then it will crop down when I go to shoot 4K, which is ridiculous. But there is a workaround if you get yourself a speed booster, which looks like this, a Viltrox speed booster. This is the cheap one, by the way, you guys. I don't have the Metabone $700 speed booster. This one was like $150. But it basically will focus, you know, it balances out. It'll fix some of that crop, but you know, also the other way to do it is just to get a really wide lens. So I've got a 10mm on that right now, and you know, crop factor is not that big of a deal because even if it crops down at the 1.75 or something like that, it turns the 10mm into like a 20, and that's fine. It's not a big deal. But yeah, somebody was asking about the RP, the new Canon RP that has come out, which is a disaster of a camera from the initial release. If you guys look at the initial release, like everyone is freaking out about how much of a garbage camera it is. It's a full-frame camera that doesn't even shoot 24 frames a second, which is bonkers. It doesn't have 4K on it. The Canon EOS R is the camera that I am planning on upgrading to because it seems to be the best. It seems to be the best upward movement that I can go up. Otherwise, I got to start looking into cinema cameras, which I have been looking into. I've been trying to find a second-hand cinema camera, and that is just seemingly impossible right now because I did find a C100 Mark II that was in, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's necessarily in the price range, but like I could put it on the credit and pay it off. But that's like, that's getting to be a pretty old camera at this point in time. I think that one's like 5 years old, and it doesn't shoot 4K. It doesn't do any of that stuff, but I'm still considering it. Like I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about whether I want to do that or not, because it might be a good camera for the stuff that I want to do, going around and kind of doing, you know, documentary type stuff and things like that. But yeah, so that's kind of in my thought process right now, and it's a lot of what I'm researching whenever I have time to fit time in to see if I can't find a used one or something. But the EOS RP came out and is just abysmal. All of the stuff they took out of it, they took out a bunch of things, and for whatever reason, this is what Canon does. Canon puts out a camera, and they won't put out a camera that just does all of the stuff. They take like software features out of it and stuff like that, or they're like, oh no, this one doesn't do 4K because we don't let you. It's basically what it is. You know, it's like, is it capable? Yeah, I totally would do that, but no. So I was waiting for the Canon RP to come out because I was interested in going like, man, if I could save $1,000 from the R, that would be big, because you guys know I don't have a lot of money. So if it's $1,000, $1,000 is a plane ticket to go somewhere and tour a bunch of fish rooms and film them. So that's kind of how I look at that. Is that like, oh, if I could save $1,000, that means that we could schedule a trip to go to some fish rooms and film them. You know what I mean? So, but that's just kind of where we're at right now, and we're just kind of in a bit of a holding pattern as far as that stuff goes, and I haven't 100% made up my mind yet. And the EOS R is pretty expensive. To just be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy it and figure it out if I don't like it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Swift Aquarium says a liquid cooled red camera. Aquarium cooled red camera. I would love to shoot on a red camera. Honestly, I would love to. I don't have $50,000 to $70,000 for one though. But if a patronizer wants to come in big, you just let me know. The funny thing is that if I had $50,000 to $70,000, I would buy 2 of the C200s. Was what I would buy. Somebody was asking earlier, what's a cinema camera? It's basically, it's like the upgrade of a DSLR. It basically is what you watch TV shows. It's what you watch movies, all that kind of stuff. That's what they're shot on. A lot of cinema cameras won't even take a picture at all. The video portion that is put into a DSLR is sort of an afterthought, basically. Most of the DSLRs that we all use, they're supposed to be for pictures, and then they added video into them, which is what kind of screwed up a bunch of the companies, because they're like, they can't make a decision on what they want to put in a camera or not, because they feel like it's going to kill some other camera that they make. You know what I mean? It's like, if they put too good a video into this DSLR, then no one's going to buy their camcorder. You know what I mean? Whereas it's like, those are two completely different customers. So all you've done is just make these guys over here mad, right? So I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me. It would be like if I was like, oh yeah, I'm a fish tank channel, but I only do glass aquariums. Now, I get it. I only do acrylic aquariums for myself, right? I have nothing against glass aquariums or anything like that. I don't know. Do I own one? Yes, I actually own one right now, and I'll be releasing it in the future. I don't have anything personally against glass aquariums. Like, if somebody in America was making really nice looking glass aquariums, I probably would get some more at some point in time. I used to have a ton of those the Fluval Ebbies, the EBI Ebby, which apparently I got yelled at a while back, because like Ebby means shrimp in Japanese. So like a German-Canadian company is making they're naming their stuff in Japanese but written in English, and somehow I was supposed to know that. I thought it was the EBI. I don't know. You know what I mean. I don't know. Got a $1.99 super chat from Jamie McDonald. Says, here's a start for an IMAX camera. Believe you me, I would love to shoot on an IMAX camera. I would love to shoot like on a C200. I was looking around. I was trying to find a used one. I haven't found a used one, but Well, I haven't found a used one that's local. I will admit I did find some used ones online, but they were like, you know, like $9,000. I think I saw one that was like $8,000. So, I don't know. That's just a lot. It's like a lot. Jared Byer says, I like the looks of those aquascaper tanks that George Farmer uses. That reminds me, I gotta bug George here in a little bit and see if I can't, if the aquascaper tanks are gonna make their way to the U.S., because I really like those. I've seen those in person, and I really do like those tanks. Those tanks are really nice. The production on them is top notch. They look really good, and I would love to have one. I tried to work some stuff out between Dennerley and Tropica to send some out, but it didn't work out. And I don't know, no hard feelings or anything like that. It's not a hard feeling situation, but I tried to get them to send some out so that I could scape them and grow them and give them away at the Aquatic Gardeners Association, but that never panned out. So, guys, I tried to make that work out. I kept bugging the president of the company, and eventually they were just like, "No, I don't think we're gonna do that." Like, all right, which I thought would have been really cool if I could have escaped them, grown them out, and then brought them to the Aquatic Gardeners Association, and then just given them away. You know, I wouldn't have charged anybody for them. I would have just given out raffle tickets for free, and then somebody would have won them. But I don't know. They didn't like my promo idea, I guess. Johan always sending in really cool pictures. Johan does great work. He's obviously keeping a ton of fish tanks and also takes really good pictures of them. He must have a lot of patience and well, I don't know. It sounds rude to say that he must have a good amount of time on his hands, but it just seems like he has a good amount of time to get those good pictures, which I think I'm super appreciative of, because I feel like Johan takes better pictures than I do, and seems to have much bigger, fancier aquariums than I do. So as long as we keep getting stuff sent in, I'm appreciative of him just existing, whether or not he sends pictures in or not. Let me put it that way. Swift Aquarium says B&H has a C200 body for $6,000, $6,000, by the way. Pennies, chump change. Yeah, but B&H has tax on it. Full-on tax. And some people were wondering why I would stick with Canon if they're doing whatever they're doing. But, the thing is, all of the lenses that I own would go onto their cinema cameras. So, like, even if I bought, like, a $6,000 camera, I still probably have... Well, I don't even know if I want to say the number or anything like that, but I probably have about that much in lenses, Like this lens right here. This isn't even that fancy of a lens, but it's $900. It's like $899, $99. And people are wondering, this is some really nice L glass. Got the red ring on it. This is a macro lens. Very nice macro lens, which I've managed to get all dusty on the outer ring here. Sorry, Canon. But, it's just stuff like that. My main lens that I shoot with, it was like $1,300. So that's kind of the thing, and Jared Byer says for the video, Sony might be better. They might be, but that's one of those things. Like, I could probably get an A7R3, which is a very nice camera. It's a very nice camera. But every single lens that goes onto that camera, even though that camera is like, I think $3,000 or something like that, every lens that goes on it is basically $3,000. That's worth using. So that's the thing. But the A7R3 wouldn't do what a C200 does. So that's kind of the issue. That's kind of the issue, is that, like, yeah, maybe let's say I switch and get one Sony camera, the A7R III, right? And then I'm like, okay, I've got this camera. It's a really good camera. Wait, I need to buy lenses for it. So now I'm going to have to spend a lot of money, probably $3,000 or something like that on lenses, which is a lot. And then because it's not a video camera, it does shoot really nice video, but I'm also going to need a separate screen for it, because they don't have the flip around screen, so you can't monitor yourself from just the camera. So you'd have to get like a Ninja 5, right? You have to get a Ninja 5 monitor, which is like another $1,000 just to be able to see yourself, which, you know, that's the thing. Like, even if I take this 80D right here, which does shoot really good video, at the very least, it has this right here, right? So that I can monitor. So it has a built-in screen to monitor what's going on. So at the very least, I can at least see what I'm shooting if I'm filming myself. As you can see on the side here, you got HDMI, you got headphone jack, you've got audio jack, so you can run a microphone to it. And I forget, like, some of the Sonys, like, don't have a microphone input, so you'd have to get a separate audio recorder. There's a lot that goes into all that stuff. So I think in reality's end that I'm probably just going to stick with Canon, because I have so many of their lenses, I have so many of their adapters, batteries, you know, just all that stuff that goes into it. Plus, even if I was able to sell off all of my Canon cameras, like, I would have to get another camera as a B camera, right? So like, let's say I got that A camera that's shooting and using it a lot, and then the B camera is the other shot. So I'd have to get another camera. So then I probably have to get, like, I don't even know what camera I would get out of the Sonys, but you know, that's going to be another big investment to get a B camera and stuff like that. Whereas if I shoot with my M50 as my B camera, I can match up the video together, you know. So I don't know. It just kind of is what it is, and I'm slowly but surely going to have to figure it out. And hopefully I didn't bore everybody to death talking about cameras there for a minute, but you know, it's something that I have to work on, and I have to get better at. You know, I wish I was better, but I realistically don't have a ton of time to be working on it, you know, with all the other stuff, and kind of run and gun right now. That's just kind of where I'm at. And you know, looking at some of the cinematic cameras, or the Cine line cameras, you know, everything just hooks into them. You know, everything just hooks into them, and you can do everything on board. So, you know, most of the, you know, the documentary type guys that shoot like documentaries and things, they pretty much use the, like, C200 is pretty much the camera that everybody uses now, because you're able to kind of like drive around and get, you know, you're able to travel around and do a ton of stuff with it, or a DSLR. That's, you know, kind of how it goes now. Anyhow, Alyssa Bentley sent in, just to give you guys an idea of how crazy our snowpocalypse has been. It has been nuts, man. It's been pretty nuts. But Alyssa sent in, so apparently if you build covered parking with just corrugated aluminum and 4x4 boards with no slant, it builds up snow and then collapses. Good to know for the future. Put a snow pitch on your roof. So as you guys can see, the roof, air quotes roof, collapsed onto these poor people's cars, which sucks, but luckily nobody was hurt. And it was just, what is that, like a Camry? Just like a Toyota Camry? You could get another one of those. Sorry. It seems insensitive, but we have gotten a ton of snow. You know, SeaTac is where they keep track of the weather around here, and we have reported 20.2 inches of snow so far in February, and it is only the 15th. Luckily, as you can see here, most of it has melted off, but it's a lot of snow for the lowlands of Western Washington. It's not a lot of snow for Western Washington, because we do have a ton of mountains here, and we do get a ton of snow up in the mountains, but we don't normally get it down here at sea level. So, you know what I'm saying. It's the snowpocalypse was pretty crazy. Hopefully we can be getting back to normal here fairly soon. Derek, like Prince, he's just got Derek. I like it. He sent in, got a picture of a guppy being born. And, speaking of taking pictures, this is dope. If you could get an action shot of a guppy being born, I'm all for it. I'm always all for it. And that's rad. And hopefully my lady guppy will be doing this fairly soon. She seems to be with child, but who knows? This fish has faked me out many a time, so we'll see how it goes. But hopefully she'll be doing this fairly soon. It seems like that's the case. But hopefully I have a camera at the ready and I'm not off digging holes somewhere trying to make camera money. You know what I mean? Jackie Downey says color enhancing foods for blue fishes. Hey, I was just wondering if you can recommend foods that may enhance the blue colors in fish. A variety of foods is going to be the first step of the line here. Kiwi Mamo said spirulina, which is always good. I would always recommend spirulina for pretty much any fish, that's for sure. But a variety of foods is going to be kind of the best thing. Between Rapashi and Sarah Foods, let's see, New Life Spectrum. There's a bunch. I have a bunch of brands in my fish room that are doing a lot, and that's going to be your best bet. A wide variety of foods is maybe not wide variety, but I would say a variety of foods is going to be your best bet for enhancing fish, making their colors look better, and just keeping them healthy in general. If you're feeding them just one thing, you could generally end up having problems. I hear my daughter is having a meltdown out there right now. She must be hungry. I thought her mom would be home by now, but maybe not. Kiwi Mamo sent this in at, by the way, 2:31 a.m. We like that because we are an international crowd. And sometimes when people post stuff up when it's during the daytime at their house, it's 2:30 in the a.m. my time. So it throws a stamp on there. But Kiwi Mamo sent this in, which is picture number 1, what the evil autosynclist did, which I do have to question whether the autosynclist ate that or not. Pick 2, the jungle. There are tanks in there. I like this. This is good. This is what you can do with some of your hydroponics, aquaponics, that kind of stuff. The plants will grow pretty wild when you got the roots in there and the plant up above the water column. Pick number 3 is the evil autosynclist, and pick number 4 is Miss Graceless is sleeping. I enjoy it. But if the autosynclist was doing this, okay, so we have he has a total of 18 autosynclists, or sorry, she. I don't know if Kiwi Mamo is a male or a female. Whoops. Who am I to presume? Sorry, my apologies. I have a total of 18 autosynclists across 2 tanks, and 17 behave well and eat algae and stuff they are supposed to, but Evil Otto likes fins. I've watched Evil Otto swim after and try to attach to lots of fish fins. Most give him a flick and swim off. Miss Graceless is slow and graceless. I had a big flowing fin, had a big flowing fin. She was attacked as a baby and only has had a full fin, tail fin on one side. The other side is kind of a stump. There's finnage, but like a finger besides a leg. Miss Graceless and Master Moore are getting their own tank, and the evil Otto isn't invited. But I have to wait until I can afford to buy some more conduit to finish the central air system and jet airlifts for the tank. I like that. I like to hear when people are buying conduit. Appreciate it. Oh, the tail in the background, not the sword leaf. Oh, okay. Donald's Fish Vibes says I should be checking on her. Don't worry, Samantha's out there with her. As you guys know, I pay a sitter so we can do the show. But In the meantime, any ideas to stop the evil Otto from picking on her? And should I trim her tail or leave it to grow back on its own? It grew back on its own after her attack as a baby, but it grew back clear, not black. And I don't think she has feeling in it because she doesn't even flick evil Otto like other fish do, including Master Moore. I'm not keen on trim if I have to do, but it's actually affecting her swimming. As far as the finnage goes, leave it alone. More often than not, when we do some kind of trimming the fins, we screw it up as humans. We're just not that good at it. We're just not that good at figuring it out. You know what I mean? So I would just leave it. If it's growing back clear, I probably would also leave it. I just wouldn't be. I'm remiss to give somebody advice to like trim a tail. I would just leave it. It'll most likely grow back sufficient, and it's probably going to be the best idea. Let's just put it that way. It can do a ton of damage to your fish just trying to do something nice. You know what I mean? So I would just leave it, and I wouldn't worry that too much about it. But autosynclus will do this from time to time. You'll find an autosynclus that is down with eating the slime coat off of fish. And I don't know why. I don't think anybody knows why. I think it's just a roll of the dice. You get some weird ones sometimes. And that's just how it goes. So I wouldn't stress out about it too much. And, just separate that auto. So, some of them are just rude and mean, I don't think there's really an answer that could really tell anybody that is just like definitively one way or another, because all of the fancy people with fancy letters after their name, aka the biologists and stuff like that I've talked to, they're just like, I don't know. Mike Howie sent this in. Some great pictures. He got himself some Bulbitis Hoodalodii. He got himself some Crypt Wendedii. Cryptocrine Wendedii. Awesome. Because he went to his local fish club. You got to hear an excellent speaker on African cichlid breeding. Also pick up 2 fish and 2 plants. Here's a picture of what I picked up. And green dragon plecos. Whoa. Okay, kind of jealous. I have to realize that, like, I'm getting a little bit older, and I do kind of get jealous of people of their fancy plecos when they pick them up. It is pretty cool, I have to admit. Big Bill, who's also joined up today to become a member, is also on the Patreon. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That's a double whammy. Whammy? Oh. So glad to be a member and help you support the cause. A few months ago, I started watching your YouTube videos and live streams. You inspired me to start a planted fish tank. Awesome. Last few months, I completely gutted my closet and transformed it into a 125-gallon fish tank with a 55-gallon sump. I hit up Corey online at Aquarium Co-op and got all of the lighting. Awesome. 3.0. Awesome. You got the 3.0s. That's great. I can't recommend those lights more. They are dope. And by the way, the Aquarium Co-op is an affiliate sponsor, so, use our affiliate links to go through there and let Corey know, like, we sent you, It's one of the biggest sponsors of the show, so, there's an easy way, too. Maybe you're just going to buy a bunch of Easy Green because you like to use the same fertilizers I use. You just go through the affiliate link, and it doesn't change the price or nothing, and you're all good. Where was I here? And enough Easy Green and iron to last me years. It might last you years. It goes pretty quick, though. And a crap load of live plants. I finally finished the project, and thanks to you and Corey's guidance on YouTube, thanks again. Thanks, man. I appreciate the support. I appreciate this setup, man. I like the woodworking. It looks good. There is a better picture that I think you posted today that gives you a better idea of what's going on there. So I won't spoil it for everybody. But Jared sent this in. Says, working on my next hardscape, an 18-inch cube aquarium, which is 25 gallons. Going to have a carpet of Monte Carlo, maybe some Styragini repens around the big stones, and some Cryptocrine wendetii brown that I might end up in the back right corner. Livestock will be cherry shrimp and chili raspaboras. And thoughts of the scape or plant suggestions. This tank will have twin 18-inch cube right next to it, and both will share a 36-inch Fluval 3.0 light. That's great use. That's a great use of space and lighting and stuff like that. I used to do that. I used to do that myself when I had all the Fluval Nanos and stuff. I just stretch a big light over a bunch of them. I have other lights I can add to it if the plants need more light. I doubt that you will. 18-inch cubes are pretty awesome, and that light will penetrate just fine. I don't know that I really have any recommendations. I mean, you've got the 3 plants that are going to go in there. It's definitely going to fill in. I like how you got your rocks placed. I think this is going to be good. And I like your plant selection. Those will do well together. You know, the Monte Carlo repens and the wendetii, the brown, the wendetii, the Cryptocrine wendetii will grow quite large. So I think it's just a matter of plant, placement and pruning and stuff. And this is going to look cool. I think this is going to look really cool. I don't really have anything to necessarily add. I don't think it needs any driftwood or anything like that. And I think it's pretty good. Derek sent this in. Super excited. Just saw my first angelfish fry in my new fish room. Well, that's boss. We got some baby angelfish. That's totally cool. And I don't think there's anything more exciting than a whole batch of babies coming in, hot and fresh right off the presses. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's Big Bill's post, who is actually showing us like what's up with that closet with the 125 in it. I can't think of a better use to get rid of a closet. I mean, Vicky would be super mad if I did this, but this is a great use for a closet. This is totally cool. And he's got all of his DVDs and stuff down here, which I think is pretty cool. And I do like your comforter on here. It's subdued. It's mellow. It goes well with the theme that you got going on in here. I like it. I think it's a great use for a closet. Like if you don't have any use for a closet, that's pretty cool. And I've never seen anybody like make it up like that. I've seen people do stuff in their bedrooms, but they didn't like really include that maybe they did something. Maybe they demoed the closet, which I like. But it looks like your plants are coming along pretty well. Good coloration from some good lights, and there's a big orange fish back here. I can't really tell what it is, but that's cool, man. I like that. I like that a lot. Johan sent this in. Like I said, he's always sending us in good pictures of crazy fish that he keeps. And let's see here. Got a new fish of the week, Polypterus senegalis, the Senegal bicher, however you say it, also known as the gray bicher. I don't know. They are native from Africa and the Nile River system. It occurs in at least 26 African countries. It is an elongated fish, usually gray or beige in color. It sometimes has shades of white, pink, or blue on some scales. Most of the fish is covered in very subtle patterns with occasional darker blotches or dots. The fish has a pair of primitive lungs instead of a swim bladder, allowing it to periodically gulp air from the surface of the water. During active hours, the Polypterus senegalis swim about their environment, performing activities such as exploring, feeding, hunting, investigating changes, and scavenging. Missed the period there. Makes it hard for me to read it live when you forget the period. Most individuals are inactive at night and rest low above the ground until sunrise. Bichers, I don't know. I'm going to say bicher because it feels better, are predatory fish in captivity, and they will take any live or dead animal that can be swallowed or broken apart, then swallowed. Only its lack of speed prevents a bicher from emptying an aquarium of smaller fish. Provided the skin remains moist, Polypterus senegalis can remain out of the water indefinitely. It can even be raised on land, where it uses its large pectoral fins to walk. Totally creepy animal. I've never kept them long term myself, but they are really cool. But they're prehistoric, man. They're prehistoric. They're kind of monsters. But I appreciate them, and I definitely appreciate Johan always sending in all these fish because that's the thing. Like, he mentioned a while ago he keeps all of the fish that he sends in, which is crazy cool. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Somebody was asking, they saw Zenzo's of Tazawa Tanks. By the way, if you don't follow Tazawa Tanks, you better, because I love Zenzo. He's a great guy. And he makes cool videos. He set up a mud skipper tank. Are those easy to maintain, and do they breed in captivity? I will say this, not easy to maintain, and breeding in captivity is really rare and kind of super difficult to do. When I was over in Germany, we kind of were looking in on one of the guys that has created the actual system that simulates the entire year for the mud skippers, and it was crazy amount of work that he was putting into it. And he's one of the few guys that has bred them in captivity. It's not very common to breed them in captivity. So, and I would definitely not put them on the list of, boy, that's easy. I would put them on the list of, man, that's super hard. Let me bust over here to some of the video and give you guys an idea real quick. And my baby is freaking out, so I'm going to have to go out there and see what's going on. But as the title here shows, they're like, hey, what am I breeding in this sump? What am I doing breeding in this sump? And what does it look like when I start netting these out? And I figured I don't want to leave you guys out in the dark. I want to show you guys exactly what's going on, because I had to get some rummy nose tetras out of the sump, and I'm definitely doing some cleaning in the sump. And people have consistently been asking me recently about setting up their sumps and their some other people's setups where they do particulate filtration and all that stuff on the front end, and they're asking why I do mine on the back end. And that's for a multitude of reasons, and one of them being that, you know, aerobic bacteria. I like to keep my biomedia right there, right near the, let me see, right over here, right near where oxygenation is highest. Right here is where I keep a lot of my biomedia. The second chamber right here is where I keep some extra plants, some biomedia, along with some other things, and some spare plants and stuff like that. But I don't try to go too wild in the second chamber right here. But I'm sorry, I had to move the arrow, guys. Then right here is particulate filtration, and then right there is particulate filtration. Right now, I'm doing the maintenance, so this one is taken out. So the pad that's right here is actually taken out because I'm replacing it with a new one that I'm cutting up. And this last chamber right here is a perfect breeding ground, because we have that all that detritus and stuff will sink down to the bottom, and we're essentially, it's a perfect breeding ground for shrimp. And shrimp are something that I have to pretty aggressively breed on a regular basis, not only to feed my puffers, but I also want to be somebody who owns 1 million shrimp. I don't know why, because I'm weird. But I do definitely want to just continue doing the shrimp thing that I really like to do, which is breeding shrimp and breeding massive colonies of them, and then eventually passing them on. Like right here is a cup. You can see there's probably at easily 50 shrimp in this, and I took 3 cups out of there today, and I actually relocated some of them to the 150. I put some up for the puffers up top, and I didn't put anything else. Swift Aquarium says, we need a red arrow now. Don't worry, the red arrows will be coming once people have been members longer. I think if you've been a member for 2 months, you get to you get a Snake Plissken badge. Like, instead you upgrade from the green arrow next to your name, then you get to be Snake Plissken. Then I think month 3 you get a Bob Dobbs, I think. I mean, there's only 120 people watching right now, so they probably, you know, we won't be spoiling it, the surprise for everybody. Maybe that's more than 50 shrimp. I'm not sure. I wonder if anybody could count those real quick. But it just gives you an idea. You know, I could spend about 10 minutes, get this many shrimp out. I could probably get a lot more shrimp out, but, you know, I had 3 cups of them like this. And, it's pretty simple. But this third chamber right here is sort of essential for breeding shrimp. Like, if you're going to be breeding shrimp at large, like a lot of shrimp and stuff like that, you're going to need a spot like this that does have all this detritus and everything that's sort of just falling to the bottom. It's loose. It's a perfect place for all of the infusoria, the biofilm, all that stuff to be really breeding pretty rapidly. And it's enough to be continuing to breed the colony, and keep it going on a regular basis. That's another reason why I definitely have sumps on all of my tanks, is because more often than not, I'm breeding something in my tank system that helps feed the tank system itself. It feeds the fish in the system, or it feeds, maybe I'm able to sell them or something. I mean, I don't do that anymore, realistically, unless it's a friend of mine that wants to come over and give me $20 or something, ridiculous. I'm not selling them anymore, honestly, because it's just it's not something I really want to be involved in or really known for, is like, that's the guy that sells the thing. I don't know. It's just not a big deal for me. But, what was the word I was going? I totally lost my train of thought. Anyhow, but it's another reason why I have sumps and stuff like that, is because I'm breeding and feeding from the tank. I want to keep all the way from the top to the bottom, keep that system rolling as a system, and try to keep it as just, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to keep it as autonomous as possible as a whole little ecosystem. So, that's my goal, realistically, is like, when I'm building a tank and I'm building the sump and I'm building that whole system together, like, I want it to be a little ecosystem. That's basically what I want. William Plume, $2 super chat. Thanks for the shout out. Glad you like the setup. I really do like that setup, that's for sure. And I also see the bearded fish keeper in the house. What's up, my man? Good to see you. We need to hang out soon. We should hang out soon. Daniel Keeping Fish says, haha, Nebraska. What did they say? I'm going to go back. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they said. Oh, yeah, it's 53? What's that? Oh, well, I'm confused. I started reading the chat and y'all confused me. HDJC86 says, I like sumps, but in an apartment, I would rather dedicate the extra weight to the display volume. Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense to me. Cheshire Cat just showed up saying, I can't find my other Nerite snail. I need to paint them bright blue or something so they don't blend in. Or you could get zebra Nerites because they're all stripy, and then you'd be able to see them easier or something. I'm not sure. All right, guys, but we are sort of to the end of the show today. I don't know. I'm just kind of going fast and loose here. Maybe I'll do the member stream this weekend. And we're only at... Hold on, let me reload this to make sure that I got it right. We're only at 31 members, so it might just be me and 31 lovely, lovely little faces. Might do it this weekend. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do it... President's Day or something, because that's a holiday. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Johan is asking, did I send the plant out? Oh, the bulbitis? No, the bulbitis is in Corey's, it's in Corey's 800 gallon. I dropped it in there. Be a video about that later. Not today. How big should my shrimp colony be before I move it from the 10 gallon to the 40 long? A 40 gallon, I'd probably start with like 50 shrimp or something like that. Keep them close before that. There have been, some instances of people like, man, they just aren't breeding in too big of a tank if you only have a few, but I haven't personally found that, but trusted people have mentioned that to me. So, I take that and try to pass that on a little bit. I've never really encountered that problem, but they have encountered that problem, and so might be something to pass on. But 40 gallon, I'd start with get the 50 shrimp, move them over there. No big deal. Basically the same as I did with the 120. It's enough shrimp that they're all swimming around in there doing their stuff. Boston, Maine Mike with a $10 super chat with no question or anything on it. All right, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Let me see if I can't scroll up in the chat here. Jamie McDonald says, I want to see a stream on a 30-foot screen. I know some people have put me up on 30-foot screens before. Kind of wild. But let me see. 54 Punchy says, I had a blue crayfish totally destroy a planet tank, and he was catching fish. I have had that happen myself also. I got a blue crayfish at one point in time, and I got some orange crayfish at one point in time. And both times I thought, hey, check me out. I'm super fancy. I'm going to put them in here. And they went in there like a crazy bulldozer, like a bull in a china shop, and ruined everything and ate some of my fish, clipped them in half as they swam by, and murdered them and ate them, and murdered a bunch of plants too. And I was just like, man, really? I just want to have these, you know. Donald's Fish Vibe says, I had a fish tank catastrophe recently. Placed a red crawfish with 5 tiger barbs. All barbs were terrorized and eventually died. 2 of the 5, which were looking well, I put into another tank. I added the size in because he wrote them in there. Will MTS make a mess in a dirted tank? Malaysian trumpet snails, probably a little bit. They probably will a little bit. To a certain degree. But, all right, guys, I got to go. Realistically, I have to go to the bathroom. So, you know what I'm talking about. I got to go pee. I drank too much coffee. But I want to say thank you for everybody coming out today. I definitely want to say thanks for everybody for hitting that join button, which was just William today. Million Gandalf, Smoking Frog Studios, Rumbust, Aaron Decina, Jamie McDonald, William Plume, and Boston, Maine Mike for your super chats. Thank you very much, you guys. And I want to say thanks to all the patronizers, and thanks to all the subscribers, and thanks to everybody for being so awesome. We're just going to keep moving forward, doing what we can do, and just keep going. And I think we lost a patronizer during the show, which that sucks. I probably said something dumb. But I love you guys. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend out there, and I will talk to you all later.